Hello and welcome to the Unplayable podcast. My name is Josh Schonafinger, and on this episode I'm chatting to match-winning wicketkeeper Alex Carey, talking about his time in the national side, falling into the Karachi pool, and also looking ahead to South Australia's chances in the Sheffield Shield and the Marsh One Day Cup this season. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, great stuff, but unfortunately this is an audio-only podcast, which means you won't get to see Alex Carey's smiling face. However, we do recommend that you stick around because there is heaps of great content. Then after the chat, Jack Paynter from cricket.com.au will join me as we break down the ins and outs of South Australia's upcoming season. So without further ado, let's get into the chat with Alex Carey. I'm super stoked to be joined by Australian wicketkeeper Alex Carey, who on Tuesday night in Cairns scored 85 off 99 balls and put on a 158-run stand with Cameron Green as Australia won a classic against the Kiwis. Welcome, Alex. Where does that knock rank for you among your best innings?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's, I guess, in a difficult situation with Trent Bolt swinging the ball around and under a fair bit of pressure, I guess for Cam and I to come together and not have to say too much and just understand it was a bit of time out in the middle and absorb some pressure and then just start batting together. And I think we bounced off each other nicely, and he was scoring quite freely down the other end. So we just kept going about our business and just kept batting for more about the time rather than the runs on the board. And I guess you see, if you give yourself a chance to take it deep, then anything can happen. So I really enjoyed batting with Cam. We've had some good partnerships now, and he's a fantastic young player.
Cam said after the match that he felt a bit of freedom almost because you guys were in such a dire situation. The pressure was off. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where you're obviously under a fair bit of pressure, and there's not much, I guess. If you get it out, then that was the trend. But if you're able to pull something off, obviously it's fantastic. So I think the freedom started to come, and we saw with his innings especially, he got into his groove and started to hit some boundaries more frequently. And I think the wicket changed a little bit to slide on a bit more under the lights, but for him to give himself time and then assess the situation, the conditions, and then allowed himself to expand his game. And as I mentioned, we're seeing a pretty good young talent start to emerge in world cricket.
Yeah, he's going to be a superstar. There's no doubt about that. This was the fourth of your ODIs up in North Queensland. You had 3 in Townsville, first against Zimbabwe. What have you made of the time up here in late August and early September? And would you like to see it as more of a regular thing for Australian cricketers?
Yeah, so far it's been great. It was a nice way to start the summer in Townsville. Conditions were really, really comfortable. The weather's been beautiful, so it wasn't too hot and humid. We saw a great turnout to Townsville Oval, and it was really exciting, I guess, to take some of the cricket to parts of Australia that doesn't regularly get cricket. So we really enjoyed the start to the summer up in Townsville. Obviously, we won that series and probably didn't perform or play our best cricket, and I guess we really wanted to make amends from Game 3 there into the first game against the Kiwis, who are obviously the number one team in the world in this format. It was great to get the win yesterday. We've obviously got some things to tinker with. We've had a bit of a change in lineup over the last probably 12 to 24 months. So to get some continuity there would be great, but it's great to have a lot of players in the one-day system putting their hands up to get into this team.
How have you been spending your time off up in North Queensland? Are you a fisherman? Do you play golf? What's been happening?
Yeah, I'm a fisherman. So I was myself, Mitch Marsh and Ashton Agar were very fortunate to spend some times with the locals up there, and I guess to be let in to see how the locals go about their fishing, and we were able to do some spear fishing. They even cooked up a stingray for us to eat in their in the ways that they do it. So to Floyd and Les and Ash, the three Indigenous guys, just welcomed us into their inner sanctum to be able to experience what we did is something that us three will never forget. But I'm a fisherman. I chuck the lures out in the evenings and have a bit of fun, a few casts, and lose a few lures on the rocks. But and then there's obviously the fanatic golf group. So I haven't quite caught the bug of golf. It's a bit hard, I guess, with a young family to say to the wife, can I go out for 4 hours and have a hit of golf? I think cricket takes up enough time.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. If we could just track back a little bit, on the tour to the West Indies, you actually got a chance to captain the Australian ODI side. Mate, what was that like? That must have been an incredible experience.
Yeah, it was. It was a very proud moment in my career so far to be able to lead the Australian cricket team in a series win in the West Indies was something I'm really proud of. Obviously in a situation where we had our captain injured, so that's never great, but to be able to put my hand up and be able to lead the guys was a really good experience. And I think we've got so much depth in this group as well. To have guys to bounce off there as well was great. Stark and Hazelwood were up firing and with the ball, and we were able to get over the line in that series. So it was a great opportunity. I love putting my hand up to captain whenever I get the opportunity, whether it's with South Australia or with a Big Bash team. So I think obviously we've got some pretty good stocks around this group. Finch is doing an amazing job. So I'll continue to learn off those guys.
I mean, I guess when you do get the chance to take the reins for SA or the Strikers or even Australia in this case, I mean, is it difficult because you've already got the role as a keeper or as batter? I mean, as a review guy. I mean, there's a lot going on. Do you enjoy that aspect of it as well?
Yeah, I do. I think it gives me an opportunity to focus less on my game and focus more on others.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
I think naturally, when you're not thinking or overthinking your own performance, I think that's when the best comes out of me anyway. It's more about them and less about me, and I enjoy that aspect of it. So I'll always put my hand up if there's an opportunity to do so, and it's also, like I said, great to learn some really good leadership qualities off some amazing captains we've had in the past. Obviously Steve Smith and David Warner have done it for Australia at times, and now Aaron Finch, who's not only a great captain but a great mate of mine. So got some really experienced guys around to learn and bounce things off.
And then just a few months ago there was the Pakistan tour and the Sri Lanka tours, and they were both pretty significant in their own right. What was it like to be over there for those particular tours?
Yeah, they were, and Pakistan was a really enjoyable tour. It was an opportunity for us to tour Pakistan after 20-odd years, and I think for the group to really embrace, I guess, the unknown in a sense that, you hear lots of things in the security space. You obviously don't know conditions because you haven't been over there in a long time, and the group was so close. We spent a lot of time together while we were over there, and it was a really enjoyable, tough, and then rewarding tour to get that result that we were after 15 days of tough cricket was an awesome reward. So it's a tour I'll definitely look back on, and it'll be a really memorable one. And then again for Sri Lanka, after a number of years not touring there, in a country that was under a fair bit of discomfort with what's going on politically, it was great for us to go over there and play. And I guess we're unsure how we're going to be received by the locals, but they absolutely love their cricket, and for them to, in Game 5 of the ODI series, show some support to Australia in putting on the yellows, it was really touching. So Again, a really good series, a tough series, 1-1 in the test. Played some good cricket, and also were able to learn a bit in those conditions, which hopefully will hold us in really good stead. Going forward, there's obviously a fair bit of subcontinent cricket coming up.
Before we get off Pakistan, though, I have to ask you about the pool in Karachi. What happened there? What was the situation?
Yeah, I'm not normally one to make errors like that. I wouldn't have thought. I'm a bit more switched on, but just hard to explain. I think I was just distracted. There was security guards everywhere. I think there was a Black Hawk helicopter above us, and a fair bit going on. And if you see in the video, the pool's not rectangular. It's more of this triangle shape, so maybe that got me a bit. But yeah, ended up taking the wrong step and landed in the drink, and everything got wet except the bag of greens. So I guess I'm lucky in that sense.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
And mid-tour as well. I thought the boys needed a bit of humour, so I took one for the team.
And pretty unlucky to have one of the boys filming as well. I mean, what are the odds of that?
Oh, unbelievable. I think he was filming to show his family where we were staying, and then next minute I was in the water. It looked a bit staged. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And then the security cameras got it as well. So, yeah, all fun and games. Something I'll look back on and have a laugh over. And my son loves watching it every time he puts it on YouTube.
Are you aware that your test batting average has skyrocketed since that point in time? Now
I have. I'll keep it up my sleeve. Maybe if I'm having a bad patch to accidentally walk in the hotel pool that I'm staying at. So.
And so you're locked in the test team at the minute. You're locked in the ODI team, but the T20 spot for Australia is currently taken by Matthew Wade. Is that also an area that you'd like to perhaps one day hold as well?
Yeah, look, I would love to, crack my way back into that team. I guess it's one of those ones you don't quite take your opportunity. There's always someone ready to go, and Wadey's come in and done a fantastic job, and obviously they're the World Cup winners not long ago. So it's a tough team to crack into, and that's what you expect in international cricket. So I guess for me, I'll always try to improve my game in all three formats. Until the day that I finish up. I'll hopefully get some more opportunity with the strikers this year and play some T20 cricket. But I guess for me, I'm loving the opportunities I am getting in the Australian team, and I'll continue to, like I said, hopefully improve in all areas of my game. And who knows?
Well, let's talk about domestic cricket then, if we can. South Australia, your team, the Redbacks, finished last year with a breakthrough win over New South Wales in the final round. Unfortunately, you missed that game, but it must give you guys some real hope for the upcoming season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you change a winning team, but it was great to see. And I guess being around the group for a number of years and now under Dizzy for a couple of years, it was a nice way to finish the season and a bit of reward for all the effort that we've put in. We've been able to recruit some players into our system and also develop some local players, and I'm really optimistic for this year. I think the guys are growing and learning and maturing as players. We're starting to get some good amount of games under our players now, in a Henry Hunt and Weatherald and Jake Carter, Nathan McSweeney. McAndrew's come on a long way over a short amount of time to represent Australia A. Brendan Doggett, I think's will one day wear the green and gold for sure. And it's really exciting to see the guys we've got there, and there's a lot of depth now to put pressure on some players as well. So again, I'm really optimistic for this season. I think the group's in a really good space, led by Travis Head. We're excited to start the summer. I think we start up north into one-day cricket, and then we're back home against the Vicks in our first Shield game early October.
Yeah. So the new recruits that you said, I guess the headliners are Harry Conway, Henry Thornton, and Ben Menenti. That's a lot of bowling depth. How important do you reckon those guys will be coming into the squad?
Yeah, very important. Harry's performed really well for New South Wales in 4-day cricket. It also adds a lot of bowling depth, and it also adds a lot of competition in the nets and the environment around the group as our training as well. So I think obviously not all bowlers will play, but to have guys steaming in the nets and competing and challenging each other, there's competition for spots. So it's a really healthy environment, and I had a couple of weeks training with South Australia before coming up here, and I guess in the past we haven't had some nets as challenging as that, with Brendan Doggett steaming in and Wes Agar and these guys. So great recruits, but also great depth and a great opportunity for guys to compete in the nets.
And what about Harry Conway? Have you spent much time with him? Because he seems like a real larrikin.
Yeah, I have. He's now a striker and has been for a couple of years, and I love the man. He's he always puts a smile on my face, and he's obviously really entertaining around the group, and we'll keep seeing the best out of him. And he's a great man to have around the group. He definitely brings a smile to the boys' faces, and when he has a bat in the nets, it's normally I try to wander over and watch that because it's quite entertaining. But not only that, he's a fantastic player as well, so I'm really excited to see what he can do for us this year.
And just give us a little insight into Henry Hunt as well. I mean, he was a stand-in captain for the Redbacks last year. He's had some great performances for Australia A, and he surely can't be that far away from a national call-up.
Yeah, he's performing really well in all conditions. He's taking his game to the next level. He scored 100 over in Sri Lanka and developing his game against spin. We know he's a fantastic player against that new ball and a seaming ball. But as a person as well, he's really determined, and he's no frills. He goes out and gets the job done, and it's exactly what we need at Pasaka. But no doubt, the way that he's trending, we'll see him in national colours soon. His leadership as well, he's developing that. He's probably been thrown into the deep end, not having done it a lot, but his natural habits are really strong in the way that he leads. And like I said, he's just one of those guys that goes out, gets it done, and there's not too much fuss about it.
Yeah, just gets the job done. So after a tough few years for South Australia, what would you reckon a successful season would be for the Redbacks this year?
It's a good question. Obviously, success is probably determined by wins and losses, but I think for this group is to have consistency in our performances. I really think and hope that we've been able to go through we have been through some really tough patches in our game, and it's now for us to mature as a group and dig in for Shield games and take it to late in day 4 and be really tough to play against. I don't think we have to look at wins and losses again. Obviously, everyone wants to win the Shield title, and we're no different. But for our group, it's consistency, it's development of players, and no doubt this year I think the maturity of the group will definitely allow us to perform more consistently, and I'm excited about the opportunities that are coming up for this group. Jason Gillespie another year. Travis Head is going to be around the group as well, and he's just had a baby, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes with little Miller. It's exciting. It's an exciting season for us, and like I said, I think now it's consistency with our performances.
Excellent, Alex. Look, thank you so much for your time and talking about the Australian team and the Redbacks. Just before I let you go, next week on cricket.com.au we're doing a series called Kit Week, where we look at the greatest cricket bats of all time. What was your first cricket bat, and what's your all-time favourite?
Yeah, nice. My first cricket bat was a Gray Nichols Ultimate, and
right.
I've still got that. I've still got that one in the shed, and that will probably be Louis' first bat.
Awesome,
I might take the stickers and put some Kookaburra stickers on it for it. But, and my favourite bat of all time, I reckon the Kookaburra, when they went through a phase with the carbon on the back.
Oh, yeah.
I loved them all, but it was the Mike Hussey where he had the beast.
Yeah.
Can't go past that one. So that was my favourite bat of all time, and one of my favourite players to watch.
They all look pretty good, those carbon fibre ones, like the Ricky Ponting Kahuna. I mean, fantastic.
No, brilliant.
Thanks a lot, Alex. Much appreciated, and all the best for the upcoming summer. Hopefully plenty of runs coming from you.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate the chat, mate.
So that was Alex Carey, a very fine player in very fine form at the minute, and subbing in for him now is Jack Paynter from cricket.com.au. Jack, you've had a listen to what Alex said to me just before. He said he's very optimistic about the Redbacks' chances this year. How do you see their season shaping up?
Well, I suppose as they should be. They're coming off a high, aren't they? Their first win in 17 games in more than 2 years. So they'll head into this season. They've headed into pre-season, I imagine, full of confidence, hoping to build on that. And they've been around the mark the previous 2 seasons. They had 9 draws in their previous 17 Shield games before that elusive win. So it's not as if they've been blown out of the park every game. And I think they've done a bit of recruiting during the off season. Brought in a couple of pace bowlers and a spinner in Ben Menenti. So I think they're moving in the right direction. So it's certain cause for optimism. We'll see how it pans out come September 26 is their first game.
Yeah, well, let's get into their recruits, seeing as though you mentioned them. Harry Conway and Henry Thornton, a couple of quicks who come in, and Ben Menenti in the spin department. I assume we'll see Conway play pretty much straight away. What about the other guys?
I think so, yeah. Conway, he's pretty experienced now. I think he's got about 30-odd first-class games under his belt. So he's probably moved to South Australia chasing that consistent opportunity, and he's seen a bit of a gap there in South Australia's pace bowling stocks. They've lost Dan Worrell to Surrey. They've lost Joe Menny to retirement, and Chad Sayers in recent years as well. So there's an opportunity there to step up and lead the attack. Nathan McAndrew did a great job last season for them, and they've got a lot of other young quicks as well. Thornton, you mentioned, who's coming over from Victoria. I think he's seen the opportunity as well to try and establish himself in a first-class side, along with, they've got Brendan Doggett there as well. Nick Winter's been around for a while, and a couple of young quicks in Liam Scott and Jordan Buckingham. So there's certainly opportunities there to step up and lead the attack, but I think, Harry Conway, he should step, straight into that side. He's experienced, he's been around for a while, so I'm excited to see what he brings to offer when, given that opportunity.
A couple of guys that Carey said aren't too far away from national selection, Brendan Doggett and Henry Hunt. I mean, we all know I'm a big Henry Hunt fan, but where do you see, how far away do you think he is? He's shown a lot of potential, both in terms of batting and leadership, I guess, at the top of that order.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to opportunity, isn't it? You've got David Warner and Usman Khawaja there, who established guys opening the batting. So you'd imagine over the next couple of years there'll be some sort of succession planning. Perhaps Henry Hunt will be given a bit of an opportunity. Will Pekoski, who we talked about on the Victorian podcast as well. Those are the 2 front runners, I think, for those 2 spots, along with obviously Marcus Harris, who was dropped during the Ashes. So I think it's not too far away. It's definitely in the plans, having toured with Australia A in Sri Lanka. So if he continues to churn out the runs, he's going to keep banging on the door and putting pressure on Warner, who has been out of form in the Test arena, and Khawaja, obviously, he's been in sublime touch. But if he keeps making runs at first class level and in Aussie A colours, then he's only going to put pressure on those guys for their spots. And
another thing that Carey spoke about is having so much depth in the squad as well. Do you think it's important to have a lot of depth, or do you need some real match winners as well? Because unfortunately for the Redbacks, a lot of their best players, the Travis Heads and the Alex Careys, are going to miss a lot of the season. So is having, a lot of depth for those guys good enough to replace them?
It's a fine line, isn't it? If you've got a recruit who, in Harry Conway, he'll probably walk into that side and start straight away. Where are their match winners? I guess they're still a bit light on in the spin stocks. I feel, even though they have recruited Ben Menenti, they've got Lloyd Pope there who hasn't come on as much as they would have liked since his great form in the under-19 World Cup. So they're a bit light on there. They're probably lacking a couple of batters through the middle order, and they still rely on Head, Carey, and Hunt to put them into good positions. So with that, on the flip side comes opportunity, doesn't it? So for someone to stand up like Nathan McSweeney did in that final game where he batted the Redbacks to that victory. So he'll take a lot of confidence from that, as I'm sure the rest of the group will. So with Head and Carey set to miss a fair chunk of games again through Aussie duty, that just brings on more opportunity for those guys to step up, and I think that's what head coach Jason Gillespie will be after. Those guys to take those opportunities and win games for the Redbacks, which they've been deprived of so much over the last few seasons.
And sometimes it is just up to those unsung heroes, isn't it? I mean, Nathan McAndrew was one who had such a good season last year and was rewarded with a trip to Sri Lanka for that Australia A series. So, yeah, maybe it will be someone who we're not even talking about now that steps up and makes their mark this season.
And again, Jordan Buckingham was impressive in that final game. It was his debut game as well. I think he got 4 for us. So, there's going to be opportunities there. I think they'll probably just be hoping they can get into a habit of winning. I think you'll see other sides, New South Wales for example, Sydney Sixers, Perth Scorchers, they just get into a habit of winning games and they can win from any position, and they know that players down the order or your third and fourth change bowlers can come on and do a job and put you in a good position. So it's a development, isn't it, for the Redbacks? They'll be looking to build on positive end to last season and take it into this season and hopefully win a few more games. And we heard from Carey about what they determine success. I thought they were quite interesting comments. They just want consistency in performance, and I don't think we have to look at wins and losses, was his quote. What were your thoughts on that, Josh? I think they'd be hoping to win perhaps 3 or 4 games and a couple of draws in there as well. That would be my version of success for them. Did you have any thoughts on those comments?
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose when you go through a season of only 1 win in each competition, as they did last year, you don't have to have a successful season. You don't have to go and win both of those competitions straight away, do you? So I can understand where he's coming from, especially in the sense that I haven't done the numbers, but I also feel like they've had a lot of list turnover in the last few seasons. They've brought a lot of guys in, and quite a few have gone out at various stages or retired. So, it's a fairly new group. How it gels is going to be interesting to see. And to be honest, I think if they get, as you said, 3 or 4 wins in both of those competitions, I think that's probably, from where they've come from, probably a successful season.
Yeah, I think so. And the other one we haven't mentioned as well is Thomas Kelly, who's another homegrown South Australian product. He's developing quite nicely, so it'd be good to see him get a decent run at it as well. So there's plenty of potential there and plenty of talent. It's just whether they can put it together on the field and do it consistently as Carey is hoping they will be able to.
Do you want to make any bold predictions for the Redbacks this season?
I think a couple of wins in each of the competitions, perhaps a mid-table finish for the Shield and for the Marsh Cup. They will probably think that's a positive. I think that's probably what they should be going for. I don't think they're going to come out and win or make the finals in either of those competitions. I think it's still it's a step-by-step process for them, especially after a couple of bad years. But I think if they can get multiple wins in each of those competitions, I think they'll take that as a win for the season.
Definitely. I'm going to say most wickets, Harry Conway in the Shield, and most runs, Henry Hunt.
For the competition or just for the Redbacks?
Just for the Redbacks. We won't go too far. Just
Well, I mean, Henry Hunt is the reigning Shield Player of the Year, so it's not
yes, he
as
is.
bold a prediction if he does take out the competition batting.
Yeah, well, maybe I should lift it up a notch. Thanks a lot, Jack, for joining me for this South Australia preview. We'll catch you again on the next state preview.
Thank you, Josh. Chat to you next time.